Oh, welcome back, guys. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Namaste. Okay. So, please tell, sir. What is this? Please tell, sir. Oh, uh, Shalu. The point is that originally it was the amendment was made to allow for reservation in educational institutions which were only government managed. But the 2005 amendment extended this to even private schools and colleges. And with that, one more provision was added at the same time. One more provision was added at the same time, and that was for provisions of the OBC reservation. So the 93rd Amendment Act's primary purpose was to provide for reservation even in private schools and colleges. That was a primary purpose. I hope that doubt has been cleared now. Okay, great. So doubt cleared, problem solved. Now, in this course of our next discussion, we'll be discussing about Article 17, 18. We'll jump on to Article 19 and we'll move accordingly. So first up is Article 17. Very simple article, easy to understand. This is abolition of untouchability. So Article 17 talks about abolishing untouchability, meaning untouchability is now an offense and is punishable in accordance with a law. So this will give us a very important piece of information. You will find that in the Constitution, under fundamental rights, there are a lot of such provisions. Let us say untouchability, for example. So, say this article only. Untouchability as a practice has been abolished. Okay, and its practice in any form is forbidden. Can't do it. The enforcement of any disability, if you enforce this disability uh, which arises out of untouchability, preventing somebody from entering a shop, etc., it is an offense, okay, and is punishable in accordance with law. Which law? There is no law. So, such an article which leaves room open for the parliament in future to make a law is called a non-self-executory article, because on its own the article does not provide for any kind of punishment. So this is non-self executory, because it leaves this room for the parliament to make a law in the future. Okay. Now, firstly, what is untouchability? What's the definition? There is no definition in the constitution. This definition is not in the constitution, a very generic kind of definition where a practice largely amongst Hindus which looks down upon members of certain classes solely on the basis of their birth. Now, untouchability is practiced, was practiced largely in India. It is no longer being practiced now, at least legally. And see, not to equate it, but to give you a sense of understanding that this kind of practice was also there in other countries. For example, if you went to Japan, there is a community called Burakumins. They faced this kind of atrocity, a similar kind of practice. Or if you go to, or ever get a chance to go to France or Spain, so western part of France and the northern part of Spain, they have these people called cagots. Cagots are like toddy makers. Like in India, you have the desi liquor makers. Similarly, cagots were those people who used to make toddy, their desi liquor. So they were also treated as untouchables, or in a similar kind of fashion in those countries. Or in Korea, Baekjeongs. In Korea, South Korea, North Korea, Baekjeongs. Baekjeongs were people who were involved in the meat industry. Now Baekjeongs have improved a lot. For example, if you go to say South Korea, you will find that Baekjeong meat exporters. So they are now, at least some of them are very rich people now, who have because of the rise of consumption of meat, etc., export. They are very rich people. So that community has progressed in the recent times, but that's there. Or even in Tibet, this community called Ragyappa, they face such discrimination. So I'm not justifying it here, but yes, world over, you will find that atrocities of these kinds have been committed on certain categories of people based on their profession. That has been there. So India has also been at the receiving end, where some communities have faced such atrocities. Now, as we said here, that the constitution does not provide for a law, but the parliament has made a law. This is the law, PCRA, Protection of Civil Rights Act 1955. So originally, this law was called Untouchability Offences Act 1955. This law was later renamed into PCRA 1955. Now, as far as this law is concerned, this law uh, prescribes punishments for preaching or even practicing untouchability. Renamed in 1976. So, if you are found to be practicing or preaching untouchability, this is the law under which you will be punished. What kind of offenses are covered? If you try to enforce any religious disability, meaning what? Preventing people from entering a place of worship. If you try to enforce some social disability, meaning what? If you prevent somebody from setting up their shop, etc. Refusing to admit persons to hospitals, very clear. Then refusing to sell goods and to provide services. If you say that no, you are an SC person, I will not provide you service, that's also untouchability. And inciting or encouraging the practice of untouchability. If you try to preach untouchability, try to justify untouchability on philosophical grounds, historical grounds, religious grounds, whatever, that's all considered to be an offense under PCRA. Now, very important. What is the punishment? the punishment is up to 6 months of jail or fine of a huge amount of 500 rupees or both. Of course, for repeat offenders, the jail term is slightly higher. It is 2 years. Fine also rupees 2000. Okay. Shakti, Muslims not being allowed to enter temples is not PCRA breach because it refers to untouchability. So, the idea that Muslims are facing untouchability is not largely covered because the concept of untouchability comes from the practice of pratilom marriages, which was in the Indic fold, and that is why other communities will not be able to get this benefit. Okay, that's it. Now, one very important element of this PCRA is that if you are convicted under the offense of PCRA, then you are disqualified from contesting elections. And now comes the revision time. Please tell me, where have we seen this provision before? Write the answer. Write the law, write the section, write the subsection. Oh, interesting. Dhaval, Sayadri, Priyanka, very good. Nitesh, okay. Janvi, modify the RPA. This was mentioned under Section 8, subsection 1 of RPA 1951. I had told you to memorize all those sections because 4 times in the past 6 years, UPSC has asked a question from those sections, and yet some of you are not responding correctly. This means you have not mucked up those sections appropriately. Anyway, this is one of the disqualifications where for 6 years plus any jail term that you are given, you will be disqualified from contesting elections. And here, there is no need to have any jail term. Okay. Court shall operate on the presumption of guilt. So, have you heard of this saying called innocent till proven guilty? That is why the onus of proving your guilt lies on the public prosecutor, the government, right? The police. When you commit a crime, you are deemed to be innocent only. But under PCRA, you are assumed to be guilty. You have to prove otherwise. Look at the situation. So normally under other laws, it is assumed that you are innocent. But under PCRA, the assumption is that you are guilty. Prove otherwise. That is what is called presumption of guilt. Presumed to be guilty. The guilt is assumed. Apart from it, this offense is cognizable and non-compoundable. What is cognizable? Offenses which are cognizable, their arrest without warrant is allowed. So normally when you arrest somebody, you get the warrant from the judicial magistrate. But in this situation, there is absolutely no need to get any warrant. You can directly arrest as a policeman. What is non-compoundable? I think we have discussed the word compoundable under some topic. What topic and what is compoundable, non-compoundable? Any idea? Compoundable cases? No response. Complete silence. That's nice. Good to see. Okay. Sayadri. No. Anshu, what is offenses? There are, of course, offenses. What kind of offenses? One correct answer so far. Nitesh, okay, very good. Now some of you are creating some kind of answer here. Compoundable offense means a petty offense, small offense, Under Lok Adalat, we had seen this, that compoundable offenses are those which are small in nature and out of court settlements are permissible. I gave the example of this movie called Rehna Hai Tere Dil Mein, or the Tamil version of it, the original one. I think starring Madhavan, and who was the other actor? I forgot the name of the actor. Anybody who is from Tamil Nadu and has seen the movie can write the name of the actor. So in the Hindi side of it, it was Madhavan and Saif Ali Khan. So if two people in a college, two gangs are fighting, then the police can simply come, slap both the sides and say, come on, shake hands, end of story. Settlement of dispute peacefully outside the court. But non-compoundable means a very serious offense. Here, no out of court Minnale is a movie, Minnale, but who was the actor? I do not recollect. No out of court settlement allowed. This means, Acha, Abbas, right? Abbas, okay. So out of court settlement will not be allowed. Matter has to go to court. So this shows the seriousness of this offense. So please don't judge it with a very small jail sentence. The seriousness of this offense can be seen through this disqualification, assumption of guilt, and the offense being non-compoundable, and you can directly be arrested. Okay. Now, apart from this, we also have in our country another law. That law is called SCST, Prevention of Atrocities Act, normally called the SCST Act, sometimes also referred to in the Hindi heartland as a Harijan Act. This is slightly different from Untouchability Act. PCRA is only meant for untouchability. That's it, nothing else. But SCST, Prevention of Atrocities Act, refers to atrocities being committed against an SC or an ST. So, under this law, there is a section which defines atrocities. So, forcing somebody or forcing a scheduled caste person to eat something obnoxious, or if you dump something obnoxious in the house of an SC/ST person, you can be booked for SC/ST Act. Or if you occupy SC/ST land, you can be booked. If you publicly humiliate a scheduled caste person based on their caste, you can be booked. Assaulting an SC/ST person, you can be booked. And the punishment ranges from 6 months to 5 years. So it basically defines atrocities. What is atrocity? When you know commit an act of suppressing somebody's dignity, etc., that's atrocity, right? And as far as atrocity is concerned, atrocity is an English word. It is defined very well in the law to mean a lot of things. If you assault an SC/ST, you occupy their land, you force them into eating something obnoxious, you humiliate them publicly, you call them names, all these things are called atrocities. And let me also tell you one more thing. If you give false evidence against an SC or an ST person in the court, which results in the SC or ST person getting life imprisonment, you can be given life imprisonment as well for giving false evidence. Not just this. If you give false evidence against an SC/ST person, which results in giving or which results in the court giving or awarding SC/ST with the death sentence, then you can also get death sentence, mind you. And not just this. If you are a public servant, a non-SC/ST public servant, if you fail to perform your duties toward an SC/ST, let's say a police officer, some SC person comes and says, sir, please register my case under the act. I have been beaten by somebody because I was SC. And you don't register the case, you can be jailed for 6 months to 1 year. Okay, that's there. Anyway, this law also was now the problem with this law is that this law under which we provide protection to SC/STs, there have been cases of misuse. So, I'll tell you a simple example, again a real life story. So there was this person, all characters are true. There was this person who was an IS officer who was recently given some department in a ministry. So when he came to the department, he was the head of the department. So he tried to allocate the work amongst the people differently. He reshuffled the work. And in that situation, there was a scheduled caste person who was given some work. Suddenly, he had to do some other work which required a lot of traveling outside the city, which the SC person did not appreciate. So, see, any which way, at the lower level in jobs, Group C jobs, etc., regular transfer of portfolio or work is mandatory every 6 months. Through office order, you should change their job to avoid corruption. So this person, the senior, he allocated the new kind of job. This Group C employee, who was an SC person, he did not like it. He complained to him that, sir, I won't do it. It requires me to go out of the station or not. So the boss says that, why? Somebody else was also doing the same kind of job. It is just simple office rotation. You have to do it. Simple. This fellow became so angry that he wrote a letter to the National Commission for Scheduled Castes, telling that I am being harassed because of me being a scheduled caste person. Whereas the senior had no such motive or intention. There was an inquiry set up against the senior, though the inquiry found no allegation to be true, but in his service record, a line was mentioned now. Inquiry was conducted at one point of time by the NCSC. Anyone who reads his service file will come to know that, oh, this fellow, he must have done something wrong. That's our presumption always, right? Now that person will be carrying that guilt or the burden of doing some kind of atrocity on SC without even actually doing it. So we have seen a lot of cases of this law being misused. Again, the same old story. People, communities which are marginalized, a few people from there who get to know all their rights, they start misusing the rights. Others may be suffering in the community, but those who control power or control the authority, they start misusing it. So this matter went to court. In the Subhash Mahajan case, Supreme Court set some guidelines to prevent the misuse. Supreme Court said, earlier what used to happen, they would directly register FIR. Supreme Court said, sorry, no automatic registration of FIR or don't arrest anyone. You have to compulsorily conduct an inquiry. So basically, in the police system, what happens is, when say you go to a police station, you don't directly go and complain to the police and the complaint is registered. Let's say you go and say, yes, Mr. Policeman, please write my complaint. My Rolls Royce has been stolen. The police says, "Bhai, you don't look like you have 100 rupees in a Google Pay account. Rolls Royce." So directly complaints can't be registered. The police has to come and verify the complaint first. So a preliminary inquiry is conducted by the police to ascertain whether a complaint is genuine or not, and then they will register that application and they'll take your complaint to court. That's the correct procedure. But in such cases, without even conducting inquiry, just on the complaint of the SC or ST person, the other person, the accused, could be arrested. So Supreme Court said no. Conduct inquiry first, and before arresting any accused, take the written permission of a gazetted officer like a DSP or an SP. Once the change was made, lot of people from the SC/ST community started protesting in Delhi. Huge protests broke out that it is tried to, this Supreme Court judgment has tried to dilute the powers or the benefits given to SC/STs. And the government then, to bypass the Supreme Court judgment, amended the law and added one section 18A and said Supreme Court judgment is no longer valid and the original provisions were restored, meaning no FIR, direct arrest. I hope this point is clear. And later on in 2019, a 3-judge bench also accepted the government's change and the earlier judgment was cancelled. Meaning now we have restored the original conditions, so you can directly be arrested, you can directly be jailed if any scheduled caste or scheduled tribe person complains against you. This is the SC/ST Prevention of Atrocities Act 1989. I hope this point is also clear. Now, solve this question, came in 2020. I'll give you 30 seconds to mark the answer. Nikhil, what is the benefit of registering FIR? No, FIR has to be registered wherein the police will have to prepare a document to put in all the charges. So basically, the idea should be when you have all the charges, after conducting inquiry, when you ascertain all the facts, then write a complaint. Na? In the very first place, if I go and say 5 Rolls Royce of mine have been stolen, 10 crore rupees have been stolen, and the police based on that starts writing the FIR, that makes no sense. That is why. What is this? How, Suman, you got this wrong? Which one of the following categories of rights, which category of rights are you studying right now? Right to equality, Articles 14 to 18, incorporates protection against untouchability. What is untouchability? Which article is that? Article 17. Yes or no? Right against exploitation is Article 23 and 24. How could you mark this as the answer? Right to freedom is a part of 19 to 22. Right to remedies is 32. Right to equality is 14 to 18. Now you tell me which right or untouchability comes under which category? Right to equality. D is the right answer. Okay. Moving on. So please, not what you feel, what is mentioned in the Constitution. So the categories of rights are very clearly defined. Don't assume things on your own. Right against exploitation has a particular meaning. We'll discuss that shortly. Now, the last right under right to equality is abolition of titles. So in our country, we don't give titles anymore. Why? Because giving titles creates some kind of differentiation or discrimination. So all these Britishers used to give titles, Company Bahadur, Rai Bahadur, to all the Indians, and that is how they would uh, try to at least sway some of the landlords in their favor and put them out of the freedom movement by giving them titles, making them happy. So no title, not being a military or academic, meaning except military title, except academic title, doctor, etc., shall be conferred by the state. So if you have a military distinction after achieving something or an academic distinction, that can be given. Apart from it, no other title can be given by the state. So we don't give any kind of title in the country. Also, no citizen of India shall accept any title from a foreign state. For example, if you go to UK, you have this title of knighthood. Sir, if today you are, say, asked by UK government that do you want to accept title of Sir ABC, you can't accept it. If you accept it, you'll have to give up Indian citizenship. Like in 1988, Sunil Gavaskar, a very famous cricketer, you would not know him, most of you, but think of him as the biggest thing in Indian cricket in the 1970s and 80s. Like we have Kohli now, Sachin earlier, Gavaskar in the same league. So basically, Gavaskar was being given Sir title in 1988. He refused it because if he had accepted it, he would have to give up on Indian citizenship. Now a small and simple question. uh, 10 seconds only to answer two options A, B. Let us say Byju's conducts these weekly tests, right? If at the end of this week the test is conducted and you are scored on that, and you get a score, and whoever gets the highest score, Byju's gives the title of, or randomly also, Byju's selectively starts giving title that King of Byju's, Queen of Byju's, Prince of Byju's, Princess of Byju's, right? Best smile of Byju's, best dressed of Byju's. Are these titles being given by Byju's allowed? Yes for A for yes, B for no. Please mark. %40 say no. Byju's is allowed to give any kind of title because state will not give title. Byju's is not a part of state. We are not planning to give any title. Firstly, let me clarify before somebody asks, sir, where is that title? There is no title, but we can give a title, okay, because we are not a part of state. Point number 3, any person who is even a foreigner but has come to India and is holding any office of profit under the Indian state, they also can only accept any foreign title with president's consent. Are we clear? So even if you're a foreigner but you have come to India and you are given some kind of office of profit, you cannot without the president's permission accept a foreign title. And lastly, no person holding any office of profit or any trust under the state without the president's consent, no person can accept any kind of emolument, any kind of present, any kind of gift from any foreign state. So all those people here who will become IFS officers in future, don't dream right now, focus on the point. It's okay. In future, if you become IFS officer and you're posted in some foreign country, don't start accepting presents, please. Okay? If that country gives you a present, it is given to India, not to you personally. Don't take it home. That could be a violation of your service rules. So please don't do it. Now, under this title, there is a very unique and interesting concept that we have in our country called National Civil Awards. So we have 4 different kinds of awards in the country. You know these awards? These awards are given on based on some performance. This is a criteria. What is the criteria? And look at the criteria to get these awards. In case you want a Padma Shri, you should have performed distinguished service. What is meant by distinguished service? Government knows, because these awards are conferred by Government of India, given by, conferred means given by Government of India. If you are, if you get Padma Bhushan, what have you done? Distinguished service of high order. What is high order? We don't know. If you are getting a Padma Bhushan, this means you have had exceptional and distinguished service being performed by you. And you will get a Bharat Ratna if you perform exceptional service or performance of the highest order. How very vague of all these things. They are completely vague, and that is also a reason why you know, they are largely prone to misuse. But anyway, these awards are not considered titles. Supreme Court has given a judgment in this regard also. They are not titles. They are awards. And Supreme Court says that, you know, any country has a right to celebrate the achievements, the performance, the contribution of its citizens, and promoting those activities. So in that sense, these awards are given. But you are not allowed to use these awards in your name. With name. So once you get, say, a Padma Shri, you can't go to Aadhaar office and say, come on, Aadhaar office, change my name. Now my name right in Aadhaar, Padma Shri ABC. That's not possible. If you do this kind of nonsense, your award will be taken away from you. Okay? So that's there. These awards have been some cause of concern. In fact, when Janata Party came to by 1977, see, these awards were started by Nehru in 1954. And from 1977 to 1980, they were suspended. Why? Because Janata Party said these awards create inequality in the country. Why is somebody called Bharat Ratna? Others are fools or what? Everybody is equal. When Indira Gandhi came to power, she revived these awards. Again, in 1992, these awards and the validity was challenged in the court. Again suspended. Challenged in the court that these awards violate Article 18. And that is when Supreme Court said that no, these awards do not violate Article 18. They are not titles. So that's it with respect to these awards. Now, see, there is no limit to Padma Shri, Padma Bhushan or Padma Bhushan, but for Bharat Ratna, there is a sense of limitation there. Bharat Ratna cannot be awarded. The limit of Bharat Ratna is just 3 per year. Maximum 3 per year. Though there has been an exception. I think there was an exception in 1999 when 4 people got the Bharat Ratna in the same year. One was Jayaprakash Narayan, Amartya Sen, Gopinath Bordoloi, after whom we have the airport also in Guwahati, and fourth was Ravi Shankar, not Sri Ravi Shankar, sitar player Ravi Shankar. So that's it. Now there's a very interesting situation here. Who confers this award? Government of India. In 1954, Government of India means what? Prime Minister. In 1954, who got this Bharat Ratna? In 1954, Nehru got the Bharat Ratna. But in 1954, Nehru was the Prime Minister. He actually gave the award to himself. And in the media, they published in the papers that the cabinet is forcing Pandit Nehru to accept the award. Now, anyway, see, Pandit Nehru was a great leader, of course. He deserved the award fair and square. But then, let's look at some other situations. 1971, who was the Prime Minister? Indira Gandhi. And Indira Gandhi got the award in 1971. This is a bit too much. Giving award to yourself only. She said, if my papa can do it, I can do it. And she gave the award to herself. Now, in 1990, you'll be surprised that 2 people shared this award. One was Dr. Ambedkar. So Dr. Ambedkar had to wait for 40 years or at least 36 years to get this award. And he shared this award with Mr. Rajiv Gandhi. How can you equate their contribution? Not correct. In 1991, Sardar Patel got this award. I mean, we have to also be understanding of these things, that these were people who were of equal, if not greater footing than Nehru, and not conferring them with awards was wrong. And if you have not given them award, I think now don't give the award also. It's okay. These people are way bigger than these awards. their contribution to India is way bigger, and this is what causes a problem because the center gives it. So the issues here are no set or clearly defined criteria. What is this exceptional service? And second thing, the sole discretion of Government of India. These two things are a problem. If you can modify it, then it's okay. Then it would be appropriate. Okay. So this is there with respect to these awards. Now, solve a question which came in 2021. I would again request you to read the question carefully. I'll give you 30 seconds. Mark your answer, please. %43% mark this correct. Others, what went wrong? Consider the following statements. Simple elimination. No, 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 no. Elimination won't work here. You have to find not correct. Bharat Ratna and Padma Awards are titles under Article 18. They are not titles. This is wrong. Padma Awards, which were instituted in the year 1954, were suspended only once. Not correct. Number of Bharat Ratna awards is restricted to a maximum of 5. It is just 3. Not correct. All 3 are wrong. Hence, D is the right answer. Okay. So that's there with respect to the awards. Okay. Can you transfer your award? No, you can't transfer your award. Sorry. Oh, sorry. My small error here. Rajiv Gandhi shared the award with Patel. Sorry. My bad. Rajiv Gandhi. Ambedkar shared the award, was given in the same year. Nelson Mandela was also given the award in 1990. So that's there. Anyway, so this is with respect to the awards that we have. Sir, how about setting up committee? Yes, Sayadri, a very logical suggestion can be we can set up a broad-based committee to have these awards. We can't share this award. 2 separate awards were given. It is just that basically in 1990, 2 people got this award. Shared the award was the wrong choice of words. Please forgive me. Let's ignore that word. Okay. That's why I immediately corrected the word and I used some different word. 2 people got this award in 1990. Those 2 people were Nelson Mandela and Dr. Ambedkar. Okay. Sakshi, no longer Gandhi is called Bapu or Father of Nation. Who is calling Gandhiji Bapu and Father of Nation officially? It's an unofficial term of endearment. No government document says that Mahatma Gandhi is called the Father of the Nation. Officially, there is no such title given to him. Sakshi can, Saksham, can a person hold more than one of them? As in more than one what? Same award? No, it makes no sense. But more than one, so I can get a Padma Shri right now. After 5 years, I can get a Padma Bhushan, then Padma Bhushan, then Bharat Ratna. But are you asking me, can I get two Bharat Ratnas? No, that makes no sense. Okay. Uh, Prajwal, film actors are called by these awards. Yes, there was an issue. In fact, this issue came to light, especially with respect to two actors. So, people from Andhra Pradesh and Telangana would know very well. Others also, Brahmanandam, this amazing actor. Others who don't know him, if you have ever seen a Hindi dubbed movie of, say, Hyderabad or Telugu movie, that actor who's always acting over smart, that's Brahmanandam, amazing actor. He has done so many movies. So, or one more actor, Mohan Babu. So, Mohan Babu, you would know, there's this movie called, very famous movie of his called Pedara Yudu, right? It is actually a remake of a Tamil movie called Nattamai, or Natamai is the correct pronunciation if I'm not wrong. There's a Hindi remake also called Bulandi. So these two actors, it was found that they were constantly using in front of their name in the film credits as Padma Shri Brahmanandam. So they were scolded by the court, don't do it. So you should avoid doing all these things. But no official name change will happen. So we should not use these awards with our name in general also. Say in some kind of, say, conference, etc. If somebody says Bharat Ratna Sachin Tendulkar is here, that's okay. But don't go and get your Aadhaar and PAN card change and have your name changed there. That's the purpose. Sayadri. So everyone are thinking, oh, okay, no problem. Now, before we discuss Article 19, just for a brief moment, we'll discuss the constitutional bodies. Three of these bodies, they all perform the exact same function. Exact same function, but for different categories of people. So we have these three bodies. One is NCSC, National Commission for Scheduled Castes, Article 338. Then we have NCST, National Commission for Scheduled Tribes, Article 338, capital A. NCBC, National Commission for Backward Classes, Article 338, capital B. So, as far as NCSC is concerned, this body was created through the 89th Amendment Act 2003. Originally, we had a common body called National Commission for Scheduled Castes and Scheduled Tribes, one common body. But because the issues, the aspirations, the expectations of SCs and STs differ vastly, so now we have two separate bodies, NCSC, NCST, dealing with two separate matters. So in 2003, by amending the constitution, we created two separate bodies. We bifurcated NCSC and NCST. The purpose of these bodies like NCSC is what? To, of course, promote and protect. Promote and protect what? The social, educational, economic, and cultural interests. The social, educational, cultural, and economic interest of of very important, of scheduled castes plus Anglo-Indians. Remember Anglo-Indians, we discussed this under Parliament. This NCSC takes care of not just scheduled caste plus also Anglo-Indian. So please don't forget this. Though the body is only called NCSC, but The task it has been allocated is to preserve, protect, promote the social, educational, economic, and cultural interests of both scheduled castes and Anglo Indians. Okay, now the purpose, as I said, to oversee the implementation of various safeguards, whatever safeguards are there in the constitution, they will look into whether those safeguards are being followed properly or not. This commission has 5 people: chairman, vice chairman, and 3 other members. These 3 members largely had 3 cells, I think. One is a legal cell, the library, and the programming cell. Anyway, so 5 people are there, and their appointment is done by the President of India. And we have no idea on other things. It is just that their appointment is done by the President of India. Uh, Janvi, are these awards open to foreigners? Which awards? Oh, those awards. Yes, yes, they're open to foreigners. Priyanka, our leaders don't have basic knowledge. This is too harsh here. Come on. Leaders do have, I mean, are you thinking that leaders are illiterate or not? Not really. Please go and have a look at the degree a lot of our ministers are holding, right? Highly educated people. Those days are gone, and those days were never there only. At the state level, this is possible. But at the central level, most leaders are very educated people. The ministers, especially, most of them have very good degrees. So, making this very rash statement does not behoove of a UPSC aspirant. We have to be very careful. But their interest or motive can be biased. That's there. That can be a question. Anyway, yes, Shalu, is that a question whose father? What is this? Question or statement? Yes. Anglo-Indians are people whose male progenitors or ancestors are of European descent. Definition under Article 366. Functioning is also described by the President. Yes. As far as the Constitution is concerned, it provides some powers and functions that these bodies follow. Duties and functions. Ranjan, talk of a prime. That is why I said most. Okay? Most leaders. No, but I am not raising any question on anybody's degree. Let's be clear. I am saying most leaders. Duties and functions. To investigate and monitor all matters relating to the safeguards provided for SCs and to evaluate the working of such safeguard. See, basically, these bodies perform some set functions. For example, number one, these bodies normally investigate. These bodies normally also look into complaints. If you are from the SC community, you can approach here. Then they also look into all the safeguards that are being followed or not. Then they also advising the government with respect to the same. Then they also prepare annual reports. These are some of the generic functions that all such bodies perform, right? Irrespective of, and of course, they'll make some, we have already done that. Advising the government, making recommendations. These functions are performed by all such bodies. Okay, so just mug up those important elements and you can write a comprehensive answer on the functions performed by these bodies. Okay, specific complaints, participate and advise in the planning process of socio-economic development. Then reports. Then making recommendations. Then discharging any other function with relation to protection, welfare, development, advancement of the SCs. Lastly, while investigating the matter or conducting any inquiry, they have the power of a civil court also. What is the power of civil court? We discussed this earlier also. These are powers of civil court. Let me explain very quickly. Powers of civil court means anybody which has been given the power of a civil court, that body can call upon anyone to be or act as a witness. That body can issue orders to submit before itself any kind of document. So basically, this is called the power of civil court. You can ask any person to submit documents. You can ask any person to come and be a witness. That's called power of civil court. And one very important provision is this, very, very important. Union and every state government, mind you, shall consult. It's mandatory for the union and state governments to consult the commission on all major policy matters affecting scheduled castes. Okay, that's all as far as the functions of scheduled castes are concerned. We are done with these functions. Power of civil court is not to punish. Power, you can read this. Power of civil court is to summon, call, enforce attendance of any person, requiring the discovery of documents, production of documents, receiving evidence on affidavit, requisition, asking for any public record, issuing summons for examining witnesses. That's it. It does not involve punishing people. We are done with NCSC and we are also done with NCST and NCBC. Why? Because the provisions of NCST and NCBC are exactly the same. Word by word, you can go and compare in the Constitution. The only difference would be for NCSC, it is scheduled caste. For NCST, it will be scheduled tribes. For NCBC, it will be backward classes. And NCBC is made recently, only just 5 years back, in the year 2018. Okay, that's there. Now coming to our next group of articles, that is right to freedom, articles 19 to 22. First up is article 19. Very interesting. Now let me help you understand. Article 19 has a very unique kind of formulation. Article 19 firstly is meant only for citizens. Remember 15, 16, 19, 29, 30. Article 19 has 6 clauses. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Clause 1 has sub-clauses. And it is only one clause, Article 19 clause 1, which gives us all the rights. Others are just restrictions. So Article 19 has restrictions. Now, these restrictions that you see here must be reasonable, and these restrictions have to be by a law. Okay? Restrictions. Reasonable by law. Now, let us look at Article 19 firstly. What are the rights? And then we'll see the restrictions. So, coming back to this slide again. Now, let's look at the rights. Aishwarya, we had to change that for a purpose. When you make any kind of comment, guys, we have to also understand the decorum of the class, right? Imagine if I was standing in front of you and this was a regular class, would you be mentioning these kind of statements? Simply showcases the value you have for the entire situation. And then we expect you to become officers. Anyway, Article 19. So this Article 19 talks about protection of certain rights regarding freedom of speech. This Article 19 has, this is what is mentioned under Clause 1. Article 19, clause 1. All these are sub-clauses, sub-clause A, B, C, D, E and G, because F has been repealed. We'll come to that. So the very first one is a freedom of speech and expression, which we use always. Second one, assemble peaceably and without arms. Third one, form associations or unions or cooperative societies. Fourth, move freely throughout the territory of India. Fifth, reside and settle in any part of territory of India. See, this is what showcases that we have one citizenship, one domicile. So under the topic citizenship, I had explained this point that India has only one citizenship and one domicile. Why? Because of this. We have a right to reside and settle anywhere in the country. And of course, POTB, we saw it today only, the right to practice any profession or to carry on any occupation, trade or business. One right has been repealed. That right was to acquire, hold and dispose of property. Okay, so this was a right that was repealed. Which Amendment Act? It was done in 1978 with the 44th Amendment Act. Don't worry, we'll discuss that later on in detail under right to property. Now comes the important part. These are rights. Mug it up. End of story. But the real concern is with respect to restrictions. As I said, please, our rights are not absolute. I hope you know this. Every right has restrictions. So do Article 19 rights. Article 19 rights have restrictions. So don't tell me, sir, but we can't reside in various parts of the country. Of course we can't. Restrictions. Are you getting the point? You have all these rights, but these rights can be restricted, can be curtailed. But the restriction has to be reasonable, logical, and it should be done only by a law. You cannot impose restrictions through executive or government order. To restrict the rights under Article 19, a law has to be made. Okay. Now, coming to a very important element. First one, restrictions on speech and expression. Look at this. 3 words. Freedom of what? Speech and expression. That's it. 8 different kinds of restrictions are there. When you use your speech and expression, it should not violate sovereignty, integrity of India. It should not violate security of the state. It should not violate friendly relations with foreign states. It should not violate public order. It should not violate decency. It should not violate contempt of court, defamation, all these things. Incitement to an offense. Before we discuss these words, see, freedom of speech and expression is mentioned, but this also includes, not to forget, even though it is not mentioned, also includes number 1, the right to silence, which you sometimes use when I ask questions. Number 2, right to know. This was basically a part of the Indira Gandhi judgment, Raj Narayan case, where Supreme Court also said the citizens have a right to know information. Or freedom of press. What is that? That comes from Ramesh Thapar case of 1950. Actually, freedom of press is not clearly mentioned in the Constitution, but it exists. And apart from it, because if you go to and look at US Constitution, they have very clearly mentioned freedom of press. Then right to access information over internet. In the Anuradha Bhasin case of 2020. Okay, these are all included. Anyway, coming to restrictions. First up is the restriction of sovereignty and integrity of India. Mind you, this was not there originally. This was added via 16th Amendment Act 1963. Tell me one simple thing. This word or this phrase, sovereignty and integrity of India, was also added in some other place with the same Amendment Act. Which place? Again, today is a difficult day, just revision. Sovereignty and integrity, this complete phrase was added in some other place also with an amendment. Okay, some of you are writing the correct answer. Venkat Nalla, very good. Nandi, no. Vishwa, very good. Others are all mentioning preamble. Preamble has about integrity only. Sovereignty and integrity of India, this complete phrase is added in the oath of ministers, the oath of office of ministers. Okay, not the preamble. Preamble only has added the word integrity in 1976 with the, and that too in 1976 with the same Amendment Act 16th one of 1963. This entire phrase was added in the oath of the minister. Okay, bit confused. What is the confusion, Sayadri? Tell me. Nitesh, now PIB has authority to abolish posts over the internet. No, Nitesh, not PIB. That power has gone. Now government will create a fact checking unit to check facts and direct the internet service providers or even social media intermediaries to remove information. Till recently, till January, PIB had this power, but now they have dropped this name of PIB. It has been replaced with a fact checking unit. Okay, anyway. Then one more thing. This public order friendly relation with foreign states, and incitement to an offense. These restrictions were also imposed with the First Amendment Act of 1951. This, and this. Are we clear on this? These are the restrictions. Let's see some of them one by one. What do you mean by incitement to an offense? Inciting people into committing an act of violence. Am I clear on this? Inciting somebody to commit an act of violence. Now, since we are all studying to be an IAS officer, you are all studying to be an IAS officer, IPS officer. Let's see what the coming generation, the woke and liberal generation thinks. Can we allow discussions to take place in the country on any topic? Can we, for example, can we allow a discussion in the country? Can we allow a discussion in the country on, say, separation of Kashmir from India? Can a discussion be allowed on this topic? A for yes, B for no. Most of you say no. We are in tough times. What is the problem with discussion? Nobody is pursuing an agenda. So you are not even willing to allow discussion. Why this anger? Discussion is okay, right? What's the problem with discussion? We are just asking for basic discussion. And sadly for you, at least Supreme Court is more open. Supreme Court in the Kedarnath case has said discussions are always allowed. However annoying, however critical, discussions can never be stopped. Okay? Discussions can always and are always allowed. Discussing does not mean propagating an idea. Understand the difference. Okay? Discussions are always allowed. Please have a more open mindset. Don't be so angry always. I mean, don't be so negative. Now I think that in future, if you are an IS officer, the first thing you'll do is suppress people's liberty only. If this is your opinion. Discussions always allowed. Right? Okay. Now comes Shalu. Yes. Discussion on untouchability is also allowed. Did I not discuss on untouchability today? Tell me. What is wrong in that? Discussing anything is allowed. The problem is, are we propagating it? That's where we draw the line. I have had a detailed discussion today on untouchability, and I gave you both sides of the coin. People who are suffering and then some SUs misusing it. What's the harm in that? Should you not know the reality in the country? The problem is, if we start saying or if we start preaching or advocating that point, that's when the problem starts. Because Supreme Court is very clear on this. If you are advocating something, mind you, it should not cross the constitutional boundary. Only within framework of the constitution. So if you start saying now, if you start going and telling people that Kashmir should be away from India, no, sorry. Kashmir was and will always be an integral part of India. Article 1 says so. You are now preaching or advocating something which is beyond the constitution. That's when the line has to be drawn. Sorry, we have to restrict your freedom of speech. And lastly, what exactly should be the situation where we should punish you is this: when you incite people into committing an act of violence. When you tell people, come on, let's go and kill all Hindus or all Muslims, you are actually inciting people to commit an act of violence. That's when we say, come on, bhai, forget killing, you firstly go to jail. Clear? So, this is where we draw the line very clearly, distinctly for punishment. Here also, not allowed. And here also, Supreme Court has been very careful. It has said we can only punish those acts which are intended to cause public disorder. Don't punish every kind of act. You have to also understand the context of the act. I'll tell you a very interesting situation. There was a movie, a Marathi movie, so people from Maharashtra would know, called Court. 2015 it released, and others should also watch it. Very good movie. So in that movie, the concept was basically, the idea was that there's this person who is a left-leaning person, a left-winger, and he goes to various churls and recites poetry, etc., takes part in plays and all. Court, the movie is called Court. So he while he is performing these tasks, he once goes to a chawl where all these Dalit families live largely, and most of these Dalits were involved in manual scavenging, meaning these Dalits used to enter the drains and clean the drains manually. So he went there And he also found that these Dalits are not given safety kit by the government, because when you enter the drain manhole, lot of poisonous gases are also there because of the substances there, so it can result in death of somebody. So safety gear has to be provided. So when he was reciting a poem, he said that this life is not worth living, government is not helping you out, it's better to die than to live this life. Now, after a few days, one of the persons, he by mistake slips in the manhole and dies. Now the police books him that you had incited the person to commit suicide. This is stupid. The court is very clear that you have to also penalize only those acts where the genuine context is there to create public disorder. This person was just motivating them that demand from the government the rightful kit. This life is not worthy. He was trying to insinuate that feeling of getting the government to meet the demands. If today I make a statement here that come on guys, what kind of life is this, not studying hard, working properly enough, just wasting time watching YouTube shorts, Instagram videos for 2 years, focus on your life, otherwise it's all waste. That is just motivation. Okay, so we have to also understand the context in which a speech or a statement is made. Okay, out of context things can mean hundreds of things. So this is what is the Kedarnath case, incitement to an offense. This is not allowed. Now, since we are discussing this incitement to an offense, one very interesting point that always comes into discussion is this sedition. A very dangerous word, sedition. Time for a poll. A for yes, B for no. Sedition means anti-national. Sedition is a law to protect or prevent anti-national activities. A for yes, B for no. Please. Sedition is a law to curtail anti-national activities. A yes, B no. A lot of you marked yes as the answer. You will be surprised as to what is sedition. You will be thoroughly surprised. Sedition is a part of IPC, Indian Penal Code, section 124A. 124A, meaning it was not there originally, it has been added later on, 124A. So, this was added to IPC 1870. It was not there originally. Now, when this was added to IPC, this was done on the recommendation of James Stephen. Okay. So, what is sedition? Let's read the definition only. Whoever by words, either spoken or written, or by signs, or by visible representation, or otherwise, brings or attempts to bring into hatred, fair enough, or contempt. Contempt means any statement which is derogatory, which attacks the dignity of somebody, is called contempt. Or excites or attempts to excite disaffection towards country, not the country, government. Sedition prevents criticism of the government. You cannot make statements creating hatred or creating contempt or disaffection against the government, not the country. Government is a group of people who temporarily is given the chance to govern or administrate in the country. It has got no relationship to the nation or the country. BJP is not India. India is just not BJP. India is the entire country. The biggest misconception that this particular government has filled in our minds is that sedition means anti-national. No, 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 no. It is anti-government. Why would Britishers make any law to protect India? They would always make a law to protect their interests. And that is why sedition was there. So that all our freedom fighters could not criticize the British policies, because the moment you try to criticize British policy, they could say you are spreading hatred against the government, you are creating disaffection against the government, you are creating contempt against the government, you are attacking the authority of government. And look at the punishment: imprisonment for life, life sentence for being critical of government, or 3 years, or fine. There's nothing in between. So normally all the jail sentences are up to 2 years, up to 6 months, up to 5 months. Here, directly 3 years or life. There is nothing in between. What kind of punishment is this? Just because I criticize the government, I should be jailed for life? But in a democracy, I have a right to criticize the government because I have elected the government. A very serious cause of concern. And that is when things go haywire. You know, the government has always favored sedition, and they give a lot of justification. For example, the government says sedition as a law is very useful in combating any anti-national activity, any terrorist element, any secessionist activity. Secession means separating. Separatist tendency. If you want to part away from India, how? Sedition does not talk about all these things. It talks about what? It talks about not criticizing the government. It prevents overthrowing of elected government by illegal and violent means. Really? Don't we already have Article 352 for this? If there is any armed rebellion, can we simply not impose national emergency? It's there. It acts as a check against contempt of government. So government says, can you make fun of court? Of course we can't. We have contempt of court there. Then how can you make fun of us? Because our dear politicians, the court is an appointed authority. You are elected by us. We can make fun of you because that is the right of the citizen in a democracy to criticize the government if the government fails to perform. And lastly, countering Maoist insurgency. How? We don't know. There are so many laws in the country which are there to counter Maoist insurgency. But government says, no, sedition very important. In fact, in 2021, in the winter session, one MP in Rajya Sabha, Badruddin Ajmal, he had asked a question to the government. Do you plan to end sedition? Government said, no. There is no proposal to end sedition. They have no interest in ending sedition. Think of this very weird situation. Now see, there have been a lot of cases where it has been misused. I mean, it is largely misused only. To give you a simple example, there is this very famous author called Arundhati Roy. I mean, she wrote a very good book, The God of Small Things. Without doubt, it's an amazing book. But beyond that, her contribution to the field of literature or this country's development has been zero. She is somebody who constantly raises issues here and there, talks negative things about the country everywhere with zero contribution, right? She was the one who talks about the rights of tribals and was fighting a case in the court to protect her some kind of house she had on tribal property only. Anyway, she was once taking part in a discussion which was going on whether we should have plebiscite in Jammu and Kashmir or not. And a case of sedition was filed against her. This is wrong actually. Whether we like her approach or not, whether we like her views or not, that is secondary. But this case being filed against her was wrong. It was not warranted. We should never have had filed a case against her. It was completely wrong to file a sedition case against her. Secondly, one more example, which actually caught the media attention, which has had an amazing result. This was a case of one Vinod Dua. So you would not know who Vinod Dua was. Vinod Dua is no longer there. He passed away last year, I believe. Vinod Dua in the 1990s or 2000s used to host a very interesting show called Zaika India Ka. I think on NDTV or some channel, where he used to travel to various places and eat food. I know, the food vlogger of sorts. But then, I don't know what really happened and what was the situation. In the recent times, he had joined The Wire. You know The Wire very well. Their larger agenda is to just find faults in the country, find faults in the culture of the country, find faults in the history of the country without offering any solution, any viable alternative. That's what they do. That's the agenda completely anti-India agenda, right? They have not a single thing to say positive about the country. But anyway, that's your own personal problem, no problem. So, Vinod Dua was always found running a Hindi channel on YouTube under The Wire, where he used to criticize the government. No problem, criticize. So, he had mentioned a statement where he said that the PM's handling of COVID has resulted in loss of lives of a lot of people. Or he also said that PM has used death and terror attacks to get votes, right? Like this allegation of Satyapal Malik recently. Because of these statements, one local BJP leader in Himachal, Ajay Shyam, he filed a case against Vinod Dua on sedition. That's wrong. Does an Indian citizen not have the right to question his government? What kind of right do we have then? We have chosen you. You have to respond to us. This was a matter which went to court. And we have very genuine justification against sedition. First thing, Article 19(1)(a) allows us the freedom of speech and expression. Sedition goes against this very speech and expression. It is actually a very wrong restriction. This restriction is completely useless because it is not mentioned there, firstly, and this is an unreasonable restriction being imposed on our freedom of speech and expression. Think of this. You are saying no hatred. Vague terms. What do you mean by hatred? What do you mean by disaffection? What is disaffection? This means that we have to be affectionate towards the government. Sorry, we don't. We have to love our nation. That's it. Whatever government comes, we have to question you. Government has no right to be loved. Affection cannot be manufactured. It has to be earned through your acts. If you provide good governance to people, people will love you. If you fail to perform, people will hate you, right? And dissent, criticism, these are the flavors of democracy. They are essential ingredients of a vibrant democracy. How can you deny the Indian people this very basic idea of questioning the government? And conviction rate has been pathetic. Conviction rate meaning how many people were found guilty by the court when arrested by the police? As low as 3.3%. Out of every 100 people, there have been cases where the police could not even get the conviction in 3 cases, meaning 97 wrong arrests, where court finds the accused not guilty. Like in the Vinod Dua case. This is a big joke, just misusing it. And over the years, like in 2021, Andhra Pradesh, maximum misuse. You saw the case also in Andhra Pradesh where FIR was filed against RK Raju, then TV5 people, that ABN Andhra Jyoti people, complete harassment. In 2020, highest cases in Manipur, 2019, Karnataka, 2018, Jharkhand, 2017, Assam, 16, Haryana, 15, Bihar, 14, again Jharkhand. So every year we find some state has achieved greater heights in harassing its people by filing more and more cases. And this, when we already have plenty of alternatives in the country, we have something called UPA. We'll discuss it shortly. UPA stands for Unlawful Activities Prevention Act to prevent terrorism. We already have UPA. We already have Arms Act. We already have so many other IPC sections, 121 to 130. They are already there. When you have so many alternatives, why do you want to use sedition to harass your own people? Gandhiji had said that sedition is that prince amongst all the IPC sections. That prince, how that prince will always harass all the subjects in the state. That same prince, rowdy prince, is that IPC section 124A. Very sad. Anyway, when the Vinodua case went to court, that was called the SG Vombatkere case of 2021. This matter came in front of 3-judge bench last year only. Now, the Supreme Court asked the government that, tell me, why do you want sedition? Government again, the same drama, give us more time, give us more time. That's a typical drama they'll do always. Supreme Court this time said, take time. But till you respond, no new case will be filed under sedition. You take your own time, 1 year, 10 years, 100 years. But till you respond, we will not allow any case to be filed under sedition. An amazing judgment given by Supreme Court last year, 11th of May 2022, practically placing this law in cold storage only forever. And Supreme Court has said very clearly, no coercive action will be taken by the state, mind you. In the meantime, government, please respond to the constitutional validity. That's it. Do your drama. Take your own time. Nobody cares. But now, till the government responds, we will not be harassed due to sedition. And just to add this point here, just a few weeks back in Pakistan. So Pakistan has the same IPC, right? Of course, they call it PPC, Pakistan Penal Code. Like we call it IPC, Indian Penal Code. They have the same 124A. Struck down Section 124, Section 124A as unconstitutional. So 2023, just recently. Now even Pakistan has cancelled. Come on, we should cancel it. So one Lahore High Court cancelled this. Justice Shahid Kareem was a judge at that point of time. So now even Pakistan does not have sedition. I think the time has come for us also to completely remove it from the rule books. That's all as far as sedition is concerned. Now, next limitation is defamation. What is defamation? Defamation refers to very interesting situation. Just last topic and then we'll take a break because we'll have a break at 5:40. So taking a break right now will make no sense. 10-15 moments. So we all know the current case of defamation, right? What is defamation? Read the definition. Any person who by spoken or written words, signs or visible gestures creates or publishes any imputation. What is imputation? Imputation means accusation on any person with an intention to harm the reputation of that person. And that the person making such accusation should have the knowledge that I will be damaging some person's reputation, doing it deliberately. Like our great legendary leader Rahul Gandhi has been charged under defamation because he made a statement against all the people with the title Modi. So that's there. This why this photograph? Because defamation is a part of IPC section 499. Section 499 is defamation. See, if you remember, Salman Khan is coming up with one new movie. I'm not sure if it is released or not. किसी का भाई पता नहीं किसी की जान, something of this sort. But He also had a movie released a few years back called Radhe. So there's a very interesting South Korean movie, The Outlaws. Radhe was a remake of that movie. And you know very well the amazing movies that Salman Bhai makes, the brain-defying, physics-defying movies. So that Radhe movie was made anyway. It's your choice, your money, you waste it. Who is bothered? Now in that movie Radhe, he had this actress Disha Patni opposite him being cast. Now this person is KRK, Kamal R Khan. For those who don't know him, you don't need to know him, frankly. Kamal R Khan uh, now reviews movies on YouTube, finding faults in movies on YouTube. Kamal R Khan himself has been a part of what can be said to be one of the worst movies ever in terms of acting, Desh Drohi. If you ever feel bad about your life and what you're doing, watch that movie. You will feel motivated that if this person can be so happy and can still criticize others, then I have a right to be happy. Anyway, so KRK in one of his videos, when he was reviewing Radhe, the movie by Salman Khan, he said that Salman Khan is working against this young actress Disha Patni. He's so old. Salman Khan and Amit Shah of the same age only. Actually, Salman Khan may look young, way younger than Amit Shah, but they share almost the same age, maybe some months gap in their age. So basically, what happened was he called Salman Khan Daddu grandfather, Dadaji, and constantly kept on calling him Daddu in that video to showcase the age gap between the actress and Salman Khan. This became defamation. Case was filed against him in the court, criminal case. So defamation can be of two kinds. Number one, Salman Khan feels that because KRK has called me Daddu, now no young actress is willing to work with me only. Nobody is casting me. People think I'm too old. I'm losing out on movies. For example, in the case of Amber Heard and Johnny Depp, when Amber Heard filed a case uh, of domestic violence, it negatively impacted Johnny Depp's career, right? And he was thrown out of so many franchises. Now he filed a case of defamation, asking Amber Heard to pay $100 million or whatever. That is called civil defamation. Because here Salman Khan believes that I want monetary compensation. Civil, where damage is in monetary compensation. Please give me 10 crores, 30 crores, 100 crores. Or Salman Khan may feel I don't want money. I want this person to be behind bars. You send him to jail. That is the only thing that is going to satisfy me. That is called criminal defamation. Criminal defamation is basically a jail sentence of up to 2 years. So these are the two types of defamations that we have. This criminal aspect of defamation has already been upheld in Supreme Court in 2016, because Supreme Court says that it is a duty of the government to protect the reputation of citizens. So we have criminal defamation as a valid case. Yes, Shalu, same case can be civil or criminal. It depends on what case you file in the court. It depends on you whether you want monetary compensation or a jail sentence. You can't get both. You can choose only one. Now, what are the problems? Number one, take the example of Salman Khan only. How much of monetary loss is Salman Khan facing? How to make an estimate of that? 10 crores, 20 crores. Salman Khan can claim, I am facing a monetary loss of 1 lakh crores. You give me 1 lakh crores. You can make any kind of exaggerated valuation that my prestige worth 100 crores has been damaged. So how to calculate that value is almost impossible. Second, it can be a tool of harassment. Tool to harass people. Very simple. Let us say today you write an article criticizing, say, Narendra Modi. You are sitting in, say, Chennai and writing an article on social media. That article is read far and wide by everybody. Suddenly, somebody in Bombay reads the article, files a criminal case against you. Somebody in Gujarat files a case against you. Somebody in Guwahati files a case against you. Somebody in Shillong files a case against you. Somebody in Lucknow files a case against you. Somebody in Bhubaneswar files a case against you. Somebody in Lakshadweep, Andaman Nicobar, Delhi, Jammu and Kashmir, etc. files a case against you. Now, all cases relate to same matter only. But the problem is you have to travel to all these courts, tell these court that, sir, it's one case only. Please send the matter to Madras High Court because I live there. It's easy for me. But the point is, your Bharat Darshan begins without even clearing UPSC. And this is a big problem. Next time, you will think 100 times before making a single remark. So this can be used as a tool to harass people, to shut them down completely. Don't criticize. And third, think of it. Who files a case like this in the court? I mean, let's say today you go and purchase some new piece of clothing. Let's say you purchase some jacket, some dress, some shirt, and you wear that shirt and post some photograph on Instagram, expecting some likes, etc. And you know how your friends are, nonsensical people. They'll write some stupid remarks, looking very ugly, very bad, stupid, etc., looking like a monkey and all these things. What can you do? You will feel sad about it. You may cry also. You'll throw the shirt away. You may delete your account for a few days. You won't go and file a case in the court. After a few days, you are back into action, posting new photographs. We don't go to court and file a case because somebody called us some name, right? These are only used by rich people. They are exclusive preserve of the privileged class, exploited primarily by rich people. Nana Patekar filing case, Arun Jaitley filing case, Salman Khan filing case. Common man has no interest in filing such cases. And think of it, in a country like India, with the shortage of police, do you really expect that this should be justified? That the police starts now leaving all those matters of dacoities, rapes, molestations, terrorism, death, killing, etc. The police leave those matters and said, oh, what happened? Somebody called you fat, thin, let me arrest the person. How is it justified? It's a private crime. It's a private dispute between two parties. Why is the police involved? Why we are not like some Western country with too many police personnel. Our police staff are running short, and we want them to leave all the crimes and then go and investigate and arrest people because somebody called you some name. It's a bit too much. So public resources like police, like judiciary, which is already overburdened, is being used to settle private personal disputes. So these are some issues pertaining to defamation, and that is why the defamation should have ideally been a civil case only. But what can we say? The Supreme Court has upheld the criminal aspect of it, and now we see that Mr. Rahul Gandhi has also been penalized under criminal defamation with a maximum punishment of 2 years. This is the maximum punishment. Okay, that's all as far as defamation is concerned. We are done with our discussion on defamation. Next topic is contempt of court. We'll discuss that topic after the break. Let's take a break, a slightly longer one now. We'll be back at 6 to continue our discussion further. Break, please. Journalist Manish Kashyap discussed the problems faced by Bihari laborers in different states, but he went to jail. Uh, Aman, as far as Manish Kashyap was concerned, see, what has happened to him is wrong. It's blatantly abuse of power. But the story is not so small also. He basically fell prey to the misinformation, and he actually also posted some videos which were actually wrong. So I don't think who am I to question his intentions. Largely, his intentions cannot be questioned. He seems to be a very decent person. But yes, he fell prey to spreading false information. But arresting him, placing him under NSA and all, showcasing his bank account details in public, we have never seen the Bihar police so active. That was actually wrong. So this is there. Okay, break please, guys.